Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Aisha Sadaf along with Mohsin Bawani of Business Communication course as moderator for today's webinar. It's a pleasure to inform you that Greenwich University is imparting quality higher education in Pakistan for the last 33 years and has opened its campus in Mauritius with the aim to utilize this paradise island as an educational gateway to Africa and Europe. Talking about today's webinar on CV writing, it must be noted that with job posting attracting hundreds or even thousands of applicants, it's crucial that your CV and cover letter incorporate global development best practices. Considering the importance of CV in our professional life, this webinar has been arranged. Our guest speaker for today's session is Ms. Shumaila Umar. Our guest speaker, Ms. Shumaila Umar, works for IBA and Indus Valley School of Arts as a part-time faculty. She is CELTA and IELTS trained teacher with 12 years of diverse ELT experience at private and public universities. A specialized academician and a trainer for EAP English for academic purpose and ESP English for specific purpose. She has conducted ELT workshops across universities in UAE and corporate training in Karachi, Pakistan. Currently, Shamala is an editor for Spelt Quarterly Journal and is a PhD scholar in applied linguistics at UITM, Malaysia. Before we start, I would like to inform you that this webinar has been arranged by the students of Business Communication and Business Report Writing course. Also, they have sent their questions, which will be asked at the end of the webinar. Apart from our students mentioned, all these who have joined us are most welcome to write their questions in the chat box, and we will try our best to accommodate as many as possible. Without further delay, over to Ms. Shumaila Umar.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. The first thing that we need to understand, I think Shazia is your teacher for business communication, and I think this is my second CV workshop, or you can say a presentation with Greenwich University. I've really enjoyed the previous session with all of you, and वो आप लोग की उस वक्त हुआ था जब campus खुला हुआ था. I've been teaching this for a very long time, and I love teaching students about CV writing, something that is very, very useful once you're in the real life scenarios, because this is something which is highly ignored, but something which is something that this is the first formality, what you say, or something which is essential to get you into a job. The first thing that you need to identify is basically why do you really need to create a CV or a resume? And the problem is that we get confused between the two terms which are used in Pakistan, but unfortunately, a lot of us don't know the difference. So what we normally use in Pakistan is CV. Whereas the word that is more implemented globally, it's a resume or CV. Now, there's a difference between the two. When you talk about a resume, it's a brief summary of your skills that only expands over 1 page or 2 pages, which means it is more meant for business students. Students like the Greenwich University students, those who are studying in other universities. Once you guys graduate, this is something that you would be needing it. In fact, while you are studying, this is something that you should implement it and start paying attention to how to develop appropriate CV or a resume. Now, when you look at the CV, it is more detailed because it's stretched along with more than 2 pages. But having said that, it doesn't mean that the student cannot write a CV. You can do so, but it builds up on your experience, and then you can move forward towards your CV. And your CV is the first ticket to get you into a job. Along with CV, there are the cover letters, which I have not covered in my presentation. If we do have time, I will talk about it, but I will not give you presentation on that. It's very much, I would say, attached to a resume, your cover letters. And after the cover letters, it's your interview, and then your panel interview, which goes a long way, and then you get into a job, okay? I'm moving on to slide 3. So what's really a purpose of writing a resume? It's the introduction of an individual. Individuals could be the students, could be the teachers, could be any professionals. But this presentation is based on the business students. So basically, I'm going to be talking mainly about how the student should develop your CV. But the other participants who are professionals who join this, so I have created two bits of functional and chronological CV so that they can also take advantage of writing one. So the goal of overall, if you see the purpose of writing resume, is like you introduce yourself through the qualifications and the skills. So basically, the one term that you need to know is that you sell your skills. You sell your skills to the employee so that you can outshine other people who are employing for this job. So yours is more, it's like a career story, which doesn't give you details in the resume or a CV that you write for when you're applying for a job. There's always a problem with students. They get confused when they pen down their qualification and their skills. And that is so they don't know exactly what to put into a CV or a resume. Now, resume is more like for the students, like I said, because it is more, I would say just 1 or 1.5 pages spread over that, because you don't have much experience, whereas the CV spreads over more than 2 pages because there's an experience which an individual puts in, okay? Now, when I say outlining all details, doesn't mean that you write all your love stories inside, that you went to this place or you played for this or whatever that you did in your life. Outlining details means that you're just writing statement. There's one thing that I often tell my students, that your CV or your resume, it outshines other individuals in the sense that you need to write active verbs. I will be showing you some samples and I will pinpoint some words which shows that these are active verbs that makes your CV stand out amongst others. Please remember that when you apply for a job, you're not the only one. There are hundreds and thousands of other people who have applied for the same job. And it takes for the recruiters just to scan through it just into a few seconds and throw your CV into a bin. And because your CV and your resume should stand out, there are some of the tips that I'll be sharing with you in this presentation. I'm on slide 4 now. Now, this is very interesting. The types of resume writing formats. Now, there's no set rules which format to use. But when you're students, you must follow a certain format. For your teachers, because they have to mark you, because you are also writing reports, because you're also submitting assignments, and also you're preparing for real life challenges. So this is something that you should follow as a format. Also because there's no guarantee that which job that you're going to get in. It might be a short-term goal job, setup which is newly it's a startup. They might not even look at your CV that way. They might not even know what a cover letter is. But that doesn't mean that you don't develop your resume. Now, there are 3 types of formats that students can, or the participants who are professionals in this workshop today, can implement. The first one, which is highly recommended, is chronological resume, which is to do with your experience in the reverse chronological order, stating your most recent position at the top. All right? Functional resume is more to do with the relevant skills than more like your history. And the functional resume works better with the business students or any students who are studying in the university. Combination resumes for those individuals or professionals who have really worked their way towards like more than 15 years, 20 years, and so on. So chronological and functional will combine into the third category. In my presentation today, what I've done is I've focused on these two, chronological and function, for the reason being that we've got mixed participants on board today. So even before you create or develop a CV, you first need to know what are you looking for? What kind of a job that you want to get yourself in? What are your goals? Are you looking for short-term goals or are you looking for long-term goals? Now, when I talk about short-term goals, it means that you want to work in a company, whether it's a new or it's established company for, if it's short-term, you might want to move out from the company after a year. If it's an established company, then you might want to stick over there for 5 years or more, depending on if you're going to have advantage of your position going higher in future in every 5 years. Otherwise, students should identify what they really need. We're going to talk about that in my next slide, which is slide number 5. All right. So काशिफ साहब आप इसको थोड़ा सा increase कर दें slide को. मैंने भी अपनी तरफ से कर दी because students won't be able to see it. All right, Kashif Saab, can you hear me?
Yeah, ma'am, I'm hearing you.
Okay, great. All right, so if you look at this slide, before you write a resume, even before you even develop one, you need to know that where you're starting, where you're going ahead in time, or where you look forward to working in future. Now, if you look at this, the circle, the arrow starts from you identify your interests and goals. And these interests and goals start when you're in the university. In your 4 years tenure, when you're in your university, you need to know that what really interests you. So for example, in every university, there are lots and lots of opportunities given to students through the societies that you join in. You can develop your interest from that. You might really have really good leadership skills. It means that you're someone who can take up the challenges in any company. There can be other opportunities in your university, like for example, MOU, in which you have debating sessions with other universities. And you can be someone who likes to work under leadership role of someone, which means that you're someone who likes to follow someone. These are some of the interests and your own identification of what you really like and discovering your own self. Who are you? What do you like? What are you more comfortable with? See, there's a lot of transition when you come from school to university. There's a barrier which holds when you're in the school. School is more like, you've been trained and pushed towards what your teacher wants. In the university, you're pushed out of that bubble. You have to really explore your own skills. Otherwise, nobody's just going to push you there like schools. So either you sink or you swim. And if you want to swim, then you really have to mingle up with people around you and come out of that shell that you've been through your transition phase before you went in school. Now, the next one is to evaluate your qualification. While you're in the university, there's no hard and fast rule that you have to really apply for a job after you get the degree. I always advise my students that your first passport to get into a job is to do internships during summers. You can pick up the internships if you've taken a gap year, which is before you join a university. You can also do internship during summer, after first semester, second, third. It's totally up to you, but do it. The reason why you pick up an internship is because that's the experience you need to put into the CV. Also, it helps you to explore your own interests, that what you really like. So for example, if you're business students and you go into a bank, obviously they're not going to give you a flying job. It's going to be an MT level job. MT is just the basic one. And to believe it or not, students come back and they report. They make you do all the filing. The filing task is really tedious. They see that are you going to be following the instructions or not? Are you someone who can multitask things? And also, in future, they can call you. That after you've done your degree, you've got someone to rely on, go back to that job if you really are looking for a long-term goal. Moving on, you choose a career path and job objectives. Now, as business students, you've got a diversity in your field. You might want to be an accountant. You might want to go into finance. You might want to go into marketing, or you might want to go into HR, and the list goes on, depending on what your university is offering you as specialized subjects when you go into your 5th, 6th semester. I'm not really sure when Greenwich offers that you can take your main subjects. In other universities like IBM and in IOBM, I've previously taught them for 6 years as a full-time faculty, but they would choose their main subjects in the 5th semester, their specialized ones. By then, the students have really matured, because they know that either they like marketing or they like to go into HR, whatever that they choose, and then they focus on that. So while you're choosing the subjects in the university, you also know that this is the interest that you really like. And you start looking for internships during the summers And during when, if you're taking a gap year or whatever that you can feel, that's the best time to move yourselves up. You need something to put there into your resume, okay? Can't see this. All right. And the other thing that you can see is your job market. I will be showing you your job market and how do you research on that. And then you make your customized resume and a cover letter. Like I said, I will talk about the cover letter if we have time, but I'm not going to show you any samples, okay? The career path, yeah, can you just hold on, just looking at this one? You've got some interview companies accepting the offer, reevaluating your progress, and then you go back and you look at the cycle. Okay, choosing a career, yeah, you can move on. Kashi sir, ab aage kar de Vishal. All right. Here, choosing a career path. Now these are some of the options that students can look at it when they're in the university. Every university in Karachi has a career center, your campus career center. So you do have counselors that you can go to and talk to them about what are your needs and how they can help you out with that. Also, when you talk about campus career center, every university holds their career path by inviting the international, the companies or the national companies. They come and take interviews on the spot, and they're basically headhunters who are looking for potential graduates, and they have really seen them during the campus career center. These are some of the exhibitions that you hold in your own university, and then you can seek opportunities, and you can even give your resume during that time. One important thing that you need to see, that while in IBA, this career exhibition was there, and I asked students if they had taken the advantage of it. Unfortunately, a lot of students in my business class said no. And the reason was that the recruiters who had come from other companies were more inclined towards selling their own products and talking about their own companies, and which had nothing to do with the students. The students wanted to know exactly that what should they be studying and what should they be heading towards in order to apply potentially for the future. And that did not help. The same thing has happened at IOPM, that when the same career fair takes place, a lot of students come back and report that they did not get the opportunity to do what they had in mind. It was more towards, in the career fair, was that the companies were highlighting their own products and were talking about themselves than helping out students. In that case, your own counselors in the universities can also help you. If you're lucky, your teachers can also, whoever is your teacher who's teaching you business communication can also get in touch and help you out with this. Another thing that you can do is research. You can start doing the research work on the web to see what are the opportunities, what are the links that you can apply. I have made 2 slides on that, which I'm going to show you after this, where you can look at the links and see the kind of opportunities that you have, because as students, the only exposure that you have is from your parents, from your siblings, if they're old enough and they've graduated, or you have it from your relatives, from your close friends. Other than that, you hardly have any exposure. So if you are, for example, a marketing student, you might be just looking into marketing future prospects into what to do. However, when you look at the web pages, you might see that within marketing, there are too many options. The same thing goes for accounts. The same thing goes for other subjects that you take in the university. That gives you an advantage of utilizing another option while you're not getting the best option while you graduate. We're going to talk more about it when I come to the CV. Use your library, of course. That's also one option. Take a summer job. I've already talked about this. Internship, part-time position in your field. The best advantage of any student, I can assure you, is when you make use of a summer job, internship, or part-time. Do not sit idly at home. There is no guarantee that after you graduate, you're going to get the job immediately. Even those universities like LUMS, Indus Valley, IP, even your own Greenwich University might promise you that we have students who are picked very quickly. but there's no surety. Believe it or not, there's no surety, okay? Out of like, if there are like 24 students graduating from one department, 6 or 7 people will be picked. The rest of the people might really have to make their own efforts. So why just wait? One thing that I want to make very clear to the students here, that a lot of you, when you come into the university, you're pretty much shy in the terms that when you deal with diversity, students coming from very different schools, you don't really mingle up very well. But the best part is that in any given business institute or business universities, your teachers make those group work such an exciting one that you're compelled to do it with each other. And even if you're not really keen to do a group work, you tend to do it and you learn a lot from each other. You can do volunteer work, and you can also look at the classified advertisements, join professional student organizations in your field, which comes from your university, like I talked about, the societies. A lot of societies that you join in promotes you to a level that you can even head the society later on. And that if you're leading a society, it means you've got the leadership skills. And while you're learning under the leader, you can put that into your resume, that this is something that you have done. And to be honest, when undergrads graduate, the first thing any employer will look at is that what you have done in the university besides the 4 years that you studied. They just don't look at your 4 years degree. They want to look at what the experience is. If you're not lucky enough to get a summertime job or internship or any other thing that I've mentioned here, you can at least join the societies in your university. That shows that this student was just not focused on one. Is someone that you can do multitasking. Someone who is into a society means that you are all-rounder. Because once you're in the society, it shows your interpersonal skills as well as your interpersonal skills. Interpersonal skills means that you are dealing with other people with all the tantrums and the attitudes, and you're still making it up and seeing that how to deal with such situations. Interpersonal skills in knowing yourselves better. Sometimes you feel that this is something that you never knew about yourself. But when you're put into a real life situation in the university, you realize all of a sudden, oh, this is something that I have in me. If you're lucky, your teachers also point out. If you're lucky, you've got good friends, they also point out that you're good at this. And these are some of the things that you need to identify within you. Every student has some potentials in themselves. Make the best use of those potentials while you're in the university. Explore your skills as much as you can and don't be afraid of failures. You might do something and land into a disaster, it doesn't matter. And this is something that in a Pakistani society is discouraged upon. Don't do this, you'll fail at it. This is not your cup of tea. But if you really like something, go ahead and do it, try it out. These 4 years, it's all about your experimentations, right? And then moving on, when I show you the sample, I will let you know that you've done a lot of experiments. Do not put them into your resume. It can backfire you. And I'll tell you the reason why. Okay, let's move on to the next slide, which is number 7. Now, this is one which I picked up, the Monster web, something that you can search on, something which gives you the opportunity of going on this Monster website and seeing the career path, your tools at how to connect with other people. Also remember that the more friends that you make in your 4 years' time, the better opportunity you'll have once you graduate. The reason being that it's not necessary that your degree and your your degree and your marks are going to lead you to a good organization. It's also your exposure with other people. Moving on to slide 8. Slide 8, I have picked up from one of the books that I normally teach at IB and IOBM. I've been teaching there for like about 7 years. So this is something global. Some of the links that I've shared here, so I'm just going to pause here for a few seconds that you guys can even take a picture of this have a look at this. If there are too many websites, these days a lot of students don't like to look at the newspaper. We don't like print. We don't want to look at magazines. Okay, so we are more towards the technology, looking at the websites, and through the phones, it's more convenient for a lot of people. So to serve that, these are some of the links that you can avail, which is more global. So I'm going to just pause for a few seconds so that you can go through this, and also you can take a picture of this.
So Kashif, if you could zoom in a bit.
आप थोड़ा सा इसको highlight कर दें ताकि students देख सकें. They can even take a picture of this. So these are for those students who like to apply abroad. You can look at these links.
Excuse me, Shumaila, you will be sharing these slides with the students?
I will be. This is just to give them a pause that they can have a look. I will be sharing these slides.
Oh.
And this is also that if they want to ask any questions. All right, we'll move on to the next slide, which is your slide number 9. So this is more local. These are the 5 best, or I would say the 5 best options that I picked from online, which is recommended here. One of is like, and this is Rosie, Baroscar, Mustaqbil, Talent Hunters. These are some of the things that you must have heard about it, and also that you can Google on. I searched some of them, and there are multiple opportunities over there. And again, I would say, आप सिर्फ इसके ऊपर बिल्कुल depend ना करें, because a lot of time it depends on how much PR or personal relationship you have with other people. And during your 4 years time, this is something that you should be building on. Your interpersonal skills and your interpersonal skills should be on top. अगर आप लोग उस तरह के students हैं who are really into studies only in school, get out of that system now. Because while in the university, we don't look at that. We're just not looking at that you are just a Paraku sort of a student. We want all-rounders, that you're part of the society, you're someone that who's into music, someone who's into games, sports, and the list goes on, depending on what your university offers you. And these are some of the skills that anybody, when you're applying, will look at it. So if I just go back to slide number 9, I'm just going to share something with all of you. If you look at these links again on slide number 8, just a bit of my own experience that when I was in the UAE for 2 years, and I was told a lot of times in Pakistan, at that time I wasn't a PhD student, and I was just completing my MPhil. I was like halfway through. And friends over here told me that, you know, you're someone that who will get into the job immediately when you land in UAE. And I did meet a lot of friends over there as well, and they said the same thing. So what I did was I started applying by looking at the classified through the newspaper. And within 10 days, I was really disappointed because I did not get a single call or even that somebody received my CV, I would say, not resume, but it was a CV. And there was no cover letter with that. And I was really disappointed. So in that disappointment, somebody recommended, why don't you start applying to schools? And I've always been a university teacher. So I started applying blindly to the schools and I got nothing. And into that 6 months, I was just sitting idly with no work. And I thought that there's something wrong with my education. Or maybe because I'm not a native speaker and I teach these subjects, these people are not going to hire me, because in the Gulf days is something that I don't know if you guys have heard about it, but they do discriminate between the native and the non-native speakers when it comes to teaching English, especially in the schools, not in the university. With a lot of disappointment, I opened up the newspaper and the links, which I'm sharing with you. And then I discovered that for a university, they wanted extra qualification, no matter what your degrees were and from where your degrees were from. And when I think Aisha was introducing me, she used the word CELTA, which is called CELTA. That's a certificate to teach language. So this is sort of a certificate or a license that you might have a degree, but then you also have this extra qualification which tells that this teacher is into this path to do what she's doing. So it's more like a specialization, right? When I did that and I applied in Middlesex University in the UAE, and then applied in Wollongong University, which is Australian, then there was this Indian university, forgotten the name, and there were a few other places. I got 3 calls immediately. Now I'm sharing this experience with you because, like I just mentioned, when you sit down to write a resume, you must show something in it. As students, you should be part of a society, or you should be able to do something that shows your skills. Just don't pick up something random as a content writer. अगर आप अच्छे नहीं हो for the sake of तो पैसे अच्छे मिल रहे हैं बन जाएंगे. Don't do that. आपके जो skills हैं, even as a volunteer, you're not getting anything. Do it. Now back in UAE, in those 6 months when I was not getting the job, I volunteered into Noor's special school for 6 months without any payment, without anything. But that was a good experience, and I had no clue that voluntary work, working for Noor's special in the UAE, really had a lot of benefit on my CV. For the reason being that she did not waste her time when she landed here, but she gave her skills in something for special children. So over here, if you go back to those slides, I've also mentioned do voluntary work. There are so many NGOs here who are always looking for students to do extra work for them, to come and help out those people who are obviously not in your position. And that really puts you into a real life situation in which you can identify that there are people there that you can help. और आपकी ये charity organization है ना, ये locally तो होता ही होगा, लेकिन to be very honest, internationally इसकी बहुत ज़्यादा demand है. आपने देखा होगा बहुत ज़्यादा schools encourage करते हैं students को to do voluntary work. उसका reason ही यही है कि voluntary work इसका ये कि you are someone who can fit into any way. You're not looking at just one specific area of interest. All right, I'm going to move on to number 10. Slide number 10, sorry. Now, this is one style that I talked about in the beginning. I showed you one of the slides in which I mentioned that there are 3 kinds of categories that normally that we would avail. One is chronological order, starting with your most recent achievements on top. Then the functional CV, which is more like a resume, not CV, I would say. And then you have combination. It depends what you want to do. Okay. Now for a functional CV, the criteria is very straightforward. It's more meant for the business students because you don't have too much to show. Now, a lot of times what happens is that when students try to project themselves in such a way into a resume, you are automatically highlighted in the sense कि जो आपके recruiters हैं उनको 2 मिनट में समझ आ जाती है कि ये इसका काम नहीं है. Sounds fake. Never ever put something that you've not done into your resume. वो चीज करो जो आपने की है, और जो बहुत चीजें की हैं उनमें से भी बहुत चीजें नहीं डालनी होती. We will talk about that in upcoming slides. All right, so slide number 11. I did mention this in the beginning of my presentation. The chronological resume is one of the most popular ones here as well as globally. The reason here because research shows 75% of the employees look forward to this. Why? Because this shows your latest progress the moment they see your resume. Okay? Recruiters favor भी इससे करते हैं क्योंकि एकदम project करती है आपकी education और experience record. बाकी चीजें फिर वो नीचे देख रहे होते हैं. सही है? लेकिन कैंडिडेट्स के जो स्किल्स है वो नीचे देखते हैं. सबसे पहले वो ऊपर देख रहे होती है कि कैंडिडेट्स ने कहाँ से पढ़े और क्या पढ़े. उसके बाद वो देखते हैं कितना एक्सपीरियंस है। अगर आप ग्रेजुएट हो, एजुकेशन अगर आपने लिखा है यू जस्ट ग्रेजुएटेड, तो आपका एक्सपीरियंस स्किप करके आपके स्किल्स को देखेंगे वो। और ऑब्वियसली आपका क्रोनोलॉजिकल स्टाइल वर्क्स वेरी वेल विद द कैंडिडेट्स बिकॉज उनकी फील्ड ऑफ एम्प्लॉयमेंट होती है दैट क्लियरली शोज कि आपकी, फॉर एग्जांपल इफ यू अप्लाइंग फॉर मार्केटिंग, सो आपका जो ऑब्जेक्टिव है, व्हिच आई एम गोइंग टू टॉक अबाउट, objectives में marketing should be highlighted. If you're applying for HR, it should be applied as HR. If you're applying for finance, it should be applied for that. Also, आपका जो chronological order है, it shows your steady career growth. I'm going to talk a bit about this career growth and your field of employment because this is something जिसमें heavy rejections होती हैं. Now, for example, I'll give you my own example. Coming from a background in which I had done literature, moved on into linguistics, then linguistics again, then MPhil linguistics again, PhD linguistics again, lots and lots of workshops or certifications from abroad, all in the same field, ELT, EAP. All right. Now that shows my steady career growth. That this person, Shumaila Omar, started a career by doing linguistics, मास्टर्स जो MA है in linguistics, MPhil in linguistics, PhD in applied linguistics is a broad field. उसके अंदर मैंने किस पे कर रही हूँ, it could be writing, it could be reading. ELT की बात करें, English language teaching की, expand हो जाता है, but that shows my steady growth. This person in 12 years time has built up on a career by giving workshops, by giving presentations, has done research, has updated herself through further certifications, has gone to international conferences, seminars. वो career growth दिखाता है. Field of employment, अगर आप marketing के हो, तो आपने उसी के अंदर ही अपने आप को move किया है, या आपने multiple चीजों के साथ खेला है. Now, field of employment is one thing that I need to tell you something very important. A lot of teachers these days, when they apply for universities, when they apply for part-time, so universities hire them. But when they want to jump into a full-time faculty, universities don't take them. For the reason being, if you look at the last, again, phrase, field of employment, which means that you have moved your field couple of times. आप marketing के हो, आपने linguistics भी कर लिया, आपने साथ HR भी कर लिया, मैं 3 डिफरेंट डिग्रीज करके बैठे हुए हूँ. एक डिग्री आपने HR की, ठीक है, सॉरी नॉट HR की, एक डिग्री आपने MBA की, एक डिग्री आपने कर ली किसी और चीज की, और एक कर ली आपने लिंग्विस्टिक्स की. तो हमें खिचड़ी बनाई, which means you don't have a steady career growth. Now, when universities invest on the faculty members, तो वो long term देखते हैं, वो long term देखते हैं कि एज, आपकी शादी, आपके बच्चे, और ये कितना रहेंगे. Then they invest on the people. The same thing goes for business students. Once you apply, they see your education, they see that which domain you have applied in. आपकी उस वक्त steady growth तो बिल्कुल नहीं है, लेकिन वो ये जरूर देखेंगे कि आपने participation या आपकी leadership skills किसके अंदर नजर आ रही हैं. अगर उनको लगता है कि this candidate is fit for the job, तो वो आपको scrutiny किस देखेंगे for that, जो भी आपका वो इंटर्नशिप का पीरियड होगा, उसमें वो देखेंगे कि this person has the potential to be in the company, has a steady career growth in future, and they will retain you. Okay, so this is really, very important. You guys can ask more questions about it once we open the floor for everyone. Moving on to slide number 12. What I've done over here is I have used 2 resumes. One is chronological order and the other one is for functional. Now for college students and others means the professionals who are with us today, those who lack okay? So I'm talking about those professionals जिनके पास अभी इतना extensive experience नहीं है. and they really switch their jobs very frequently or have gaps in the employment records. ये जो आपको मैं CV दिखाऊंगी उनमें दो किस्म के हैं that you can pick and choose accordingly. Functional CVs mostly focuses on candidate skills rather than on past employment, because the companies already know a fresh graduate is not an experienced person, doesn't have past employment. Even if you do those internships, summer schools, volunteer work, societies के आप अगर leaders हैं, president हैं, then also this is not an employment. All right? How is it chronological? In which that you write your objectives. We're going to talk about the objectives in a bit, what you need to put for your objectives. And excuse me, after objectives, you have the experience, education, then your honors and your rewards. Your honors and your rewards is basically more of your skills. Now, I'm just going to look at it bits by bits because it's more about how to develop a resume or a CV. So like I said, for the students, business students or those students who are not coming from the business background, but you're going to be graduating or you want to develop your CV for internships, this is one of the ways that you can look at it, okay? So if you look at the first one, it goes into the reverse order, which means the most recent ones, okay, is on the top. It goes to accounting software consultant, office manager, part-time, 2010. Okay, so this is something which is going in chronological order. Bookkeeper, part-time, 2005. I hope that everybody can follow this because what I'm going to do is just look at each portion and let you know that the things that you can see in chronological order means even the title should come this way. Experience should come first, education should come second in chronological order. Okay? Now, there's something which I missed on purpose, which is not shown here, which is your objectives. But if you look at the experience, it talks about accounting software consultant, June 2010 to present, which means that this candidate is still working for this company. If you move down and down here in the bullets are some of the things that has been used for the current job in the past tense or for the previous job. Now remember one thing I mentioned when we started the presentation. Your resume or a CV is written into statements. If you look at the experience portion, it is written in bullets. The words that you can see is a word such as design under accounting software consultant. In the bullet, the first word is design. The second bullet is provide, The third word is help, because these three words are active verbs. Why they are written in design, provide, help, they are not written into past tense. The reason being, this candidate is currently working for this organization. As you can see on top, accounting software consultant, June 2010 to present. The moment you see the word present, it means the candidate is still working there. When you're presently or currently working for an organization and you want to develop a CV or a resume, you put active verbs into the present tone. When I say to use statements into present tense, using active your action verbs are something which shows your development, your active development, what you are doing currently. So you don't use the word in form like designing, providing, helping. You will not use those continuous form, but you will use the first form, which is called the present tense, such as action verbs. Design and install accounting systems. provide ongoing technical support, help write proposals such as blah, blah, blah. So this candidate has given only 3 bullets under which the person mentions of the skills is currently being implemented or where the person is working. If you again look at accounting software consultant, all 3 match with accounting software. Design, install accounting systems does not match with marketing, does not match with HR, does not match with any other field. It exclusively matches to what the candidate has written and has put it into bold. Again, provide ongoing technical support. It's also part of account software. That's something the candidate is currently doing. Help write proposals as a successful for the government contract. Accounts software consultants basically do this. These are the 3 main keys that the candidates had identified about themselves. Now, over here, there might be a question that there could be any other skills. Of course, there can be more than 3. But if the demand is that your resume should not go beyond 1 to 1.5 page or 2 pages, then you will have to just use something which outstands and connects with that you've written over here. Okay? Now, if you look at the second one, it talks about office manager part-time. Coastal Productions, whatever, from June 2009 to May 2010. Now, please have a look at this. On top, it wrote, it's written like June 2010 to present. Or down there, it's written 2009 to May 2010. It means the candidate is not working here anymore, but has still used action verbs in a statement form to develop a CV and to outshine other candidates. How do we know that it is appropriately written? 1, after under office manager is written conceived and implemented, designed and integrated, trained. These 3 terms, along with implemented and integrated, are used the word ED. ED is a past tense for any action verbs, something that you have done previously. Okay? Now, a lot of students, when they're developing their resumes or CVs, they make a mistake of writing the sentences that you normally would write for your teachers. So, for example, you might write that I help in conceiving and implementing to improve order processing and filing system. That will be wrong. You might also write that I help in the designing and integrating. No, you will not use the word inform, but for any past projects that you have done, instead of this, the person that you have this experience, for any past summer jobs that you have done, that you will write the terms like this: integrated, implemented, designed, trained. The key and the trick is use the word ED. ED stands for past tense. And these words such as conceived, implemented, designed, trained, or just designed, provide help. These words are actually called action verbs. And they're used to develop a resume or a CV for any professionals or for students who are trying to develop a first-time resume. Okay? Now, moving on, you have a bookkeeper that this candidate did from 2005 to 2009. One thing that you need to keep in mind, that you just not give your year, but you also give the month. Why? For the reason being that when you give the month, the employee is trying to see your resume, will also calculate that for how long did you spend in one company. Was it 6 months? Was it 2 years? Was it a year? Was it 6 years? According to that, any interviewer who will call you for an interview will probe questions. For example, when I moved back from the UAE and I applied for IOBM as a full-time, the first question in the panel, they asked me that you've done a lot of moving about. So my explanation was that no, I did not move around a lot. I spent 3 years in NED as a part-time. Then I moved in 2 or 3 different places as a part-time, simultaneously working in 3 different universities to gain experience. Because like I mentioned, the one who's trying to hire you will also trying to estimate that are they ready to invest on this candidate that they hire? Are you someone who is a steady person in your career? Someone who will make jumps? Because they are so clever and they know it, that they can know from your CV or from your resume, either that you have bluffed in your resume or you're someone who has genuinely written that what you've done. One thing a lot of students make a mistake with, they do not mention the date and the month. When you don't mention this, your CV will go or your resume will go into the dustbin. They will not even call you for an interview. All right. So over here also, when you see accountancy, immediately explaining where this place is, they have put from June 2010 to present, and in the office manager is the same thing, June 2009 to this. If you move on to the education, you can look at it that what the person has achieved. I'm just going to give you a few seconds to see. All right. Education, where you can see, again, the person has mentioned the year and the month. Okay, moving on to the next slide, which is slide number 14. It is your experience. Now, overall, if you see that the person has mentioned the month and the date, and again, there are only 3 bullets here. Loan support specialist, there are several bullets because this matches with what they have written here. Okay, again, I'm just going to let you know, please look at the catch the words, create, develop, maintain. That's the current, that's why in the action verb, ED form is not used. Whereas in the past jobs, it is used as ensured. It is used as prepared, created, answer, resolved, entered, enjoyed. These are some of the things which has been done in the past. Okay? All right. Let's move on to 15. These are your activities and your awards. Something that you have earned, assisted, nominated, placed. Again, these are action verbs used in the past. Believe it or not, when you write your statements into action verbs, your CV or resume will stand out because you're not writing history, you're not writing details, you're not using the sentence structure which normally you would do for a project or for your essay writing. This is not an essay. It's more direct. Okay? All right. So if we move on to 16, this one is your functional CV, which is looks more like functional. It is functional, looks more like chronological, but there are some of the things that you will find it's very different from the chronological resume. Over here, if you see on the top, is your related coursework. As a fresh graduate, you must mention that what the kind of subjects that you took. In this instance, the person has used principles of marketing, business communication, introduction to public relations, and so on. Professional experience, currently the person is working as, it could be internship or a summer job or whatever. Deliver friendly professional customer services. Train, supervise other food servers. So basically, if you see, even as a fresh graduate, by looking at the job details, it is not something that a manager would do or a director would do. Immediately from this resume, an employer would guess, okay, this person is a fresh graduate. That's why these are some of the skills that you mentioned here. If you go back over here, it's file provided and so on. This is the past. Now, again, when I've been talking about internship experience, these are your internship experience the candidate has mentioned. Just 3 or 4 bullets: conducted, interacted, wrote, performed. Campaigns, these are campaigns, business partners, press, other office duties. Normally that you would have done while you were either in the university or must have done it on a short-term projects. Honors and awards is something that you should be really proud of. If you've got any during your 4 years' time, you must have organized any volunteer of the month you were called. You must have organized a fun fair. You must have organized a career fair. You must have organized MOU. You must have just organized something to raise funds for the university and for the tasks that you have done. You can also talk about the languages here. Okay? And you can talk about the languages. Over here, the written French and this, but it can be your Urdu, it can be English, it can be other languages. Again, then you can talk about your memberships if you have any. For students, normally you don't have any memberships, but you can have membership in terms of where you go and play your sports. Why not? You can mention that. That shows that you're genuine about it. In activities, you can talk about watching movies, playing games. Membership can match with activities then. Okay? All right. So I'm just going to leave the question answers session for all of you.
Your session was quite informative, and most of the questions were answered in your sessions only. And some of the questions that I've also received from majority of the students, the common questions are, can you hear me, ma'am?
Yes, I can hear you.
Common questions are that how long should be a CV? That you have explained it very briefly. And secondly, what are the major reasons for a CV for getting rejected?
All right. I'm going to answer your first question, which I did not talk about briefly, because I kept telling you that in between my presentation, that make sure that it should not be more than 1 or 1.5 page. So if you're a fresh graduate with not a lot of experience, it should just expand to 1.5 page, not more than that. Remember, the companies know immediately that this fresh graduate is trying to bluff things because they know that you have not done much during those 4 years. It's not possible. Okay? So 1 page is amazing. But if you've done some internships, then it can expand to 1.5 page, not more than that. It will get rejected. Your second question was, why it gets rejected? Good. See, I showed you 2 formats. That's the format which is universal or globally used through books we teach in the theoretical setup. When you go into companies, they might have their own formats. Even the universities, if you go on the web page, a lot of universities have the format for the students to follow how to use it. So there's no fixed criteria of using the format. Everybody has that embedded in their laptops. How it gets rejected is a very critical question because the way you put your words into the CV or a resume. I showed you some of the action verbs. Action verbs used into short statements that outstands other candidates from you. Again, students make a mistake of writing that I did summer internship in this company for these many years, for these many months. Now, the one who's trying to recruit you is not sitting to listen to your stories. Your stories will go into your cover letter. Your cover letter is something which, if a company is international or a corporate sector or multinational companies, they will immediately ask you to send your cover letter because they match your cover letter with your resume. It has to match. The resume, you should not put a story. If you're called for an interview, then you can explain detail. Like I mentioned in my resume, they want to hear more from you. Okay? That answers my your question?
Yes, ma'am. The next question for you is from the students that should I put employment gaps in my CV in experience section? Because if that could be a reason that my ex-employer could be a defaulter or have a negative image?
Absolutely, that's a very good question, and this question, which is a lot of time raised in the university. Please remember that many students take a gap year, and if you're not ready for university, take a gap year, because during the gap year, you actually self-discover yourselves. But don't sit at home and sleep. Do something, your internships or whatever. That internship should be mentioned in your resume. Because when you write gap year, immediately after a gap year in the bullets, you write what you did. Okay, because see, when your resume goes into a company and when you write down your credentials, immediately they see a gap and they can see that there's something wrong. They won't have time to ask you. They will just reject it and put it into a bin. You can absolutely put that into your resume.
Okay, ma'am. And a question is that if I'm an entrepreneur first and now I'm seeking a job, so should I list down my experience as an entrepreneur that I've done any business or self-employed anything in the CV?
That's an amazing question, and I'll tell you why. You know, when you are developing a CV, I'm not sure about Greenwich University, but at IOBM and IBA, we conduct interviews. Now, for past 3-4 years, I had been inviting the corporate sector people to come and take mock interviews from my students. I had prepared them how to develop a resume, a cover letter, then I would invite them. And the question that you just asked is an amazing question for the reason being that when you write such things in your resume, such as, just tell me another thing that you just asked. You answered the question.
That I was an entrepreneur before going to a job. I graduated and I started my own business first.
Okay, so now in the interviews we fail a lot of students on the basis of this. Why? Because when you are trying to ask questions, they come and they say that we are here for the degree because our dad is already into business and I'm going to be just following him. Or I'm an entrepreneur, I'm just doing the degree for the sake of doing the degree. When you put those skills, they can ask you a lot of questions. Why choose this company then? And then you get stuck. You might say that, because I wanted to do this and now I want more experience, they will not take you because they know that you're someone who's not serious. I think you should not put that, your own entrepreneurship into the, your resume. It also depends where you are applying. You're applying for your job. So, for example, if you're applying a job into a multinational company, why would you want to put it there? Because immediately the recruiters will think that you're here for a purpose to gain the experience and you're someone who will not have a steady work experience and you will leave and they will not invest on you. Please remember that when you're hired into a company, they look at you in two ways. Are you going to be staying for a long-term goal? Should they invest on you or not? And I'm sure when Shazia takes your class, she will also answer this. Many faculty members in the universities, where your senior management will invest on them, but they will not invest on a lot of the faculty members. They know who to invest, who not to invest. And these are the things. Okay?
Okay, ma'am. One of our students, Mohammad Saad, has asked a question that he wants to know, is there any European format for a CV because he wants to apply after his bachelor's or master's in Germany?
The best thing to apply for international universities for the master's program is to go on their website and check out. They probably will have a format for them. So, for example, if I want to apply for my other postdoc or whatever, they have a proposal set format that we have to follow very strictly. So if we go on to that place and see that if they have their own format, well and good. If they don't have it, then you can follow the one that you can see. If there's a format which is embedded into your laptop, you can use that, or you can use one from where I'm using this. So the link would be Ellen Guffey, which I'm just going to post here. So Ellen Guffey is a book that you can just look at some of the formats and follow that. It's quite useful. There is no harm. And again, if you're using those formats, they are not obsolete. You can keep changing it. if you go to an organization, just don't say that I was taught this way. You have to adapt into a real life situation to change your resume accordingly. If nobody's saying anything, then just keep the same and just add on to the experience. And even for the companies, I would say to all the students, before you apply for a company, please make sure you go to the website and check out. You can get a lot of idea from the companies, whether this company is more traditional, it's open to ideas, it's futuristic, and then you can develop your resumes accordingly. Agar aapko bahut is too fancy, they might just reject it. So if you feel that the website of a company is too traditional, just make a simple one. And that happens. A lot of students miss how do we know that this company is traditional or whatever. You can come to know from the website. A lot of you are smart, you're very smart in technology. You know that this website is quite obsolete. They have not even upgraded it. It means this company is quite traditional. Somebody who's made an effort to change according to, updated it according to what we are following the trends. You know they will welcome new ideas. They are innovative companies. You can develop your resumes accordingly. These are some of the very good tips that you should apply.
Okay, ma'am. Next question is from Ghanwa Sumro, a student of bachelor's, that after completing that graduation bachelor's, she is willing to do a job in local, but she is directly getting a job opportunity at international level in a multinational in somewhere out of Pakistan. So should the fresh grads apply international job first, or they should do first a local job in their home country?
Okay, now that really is basically a personal choice. If you're getting the opportunity over there, then you really have to see that if you know someone over there who can tell you that if you're getting an international exposure, is that exposure a very basic level, even basic than MT level that you will be offered here in your country? Now, the problem is when you graduate, you will get any offer at an MT level. That is also the basic level. If you're applying abroad, you need to talk to people around you and see are the chances of growth. Because remember one thing, that when you step out of the country, there can be some biased opinions about of not promoting you and promoting their own native. It can happen. Anything can happen anywhere. But it's a personal choice. If you're getting the opportunity and you want to settle abroad in future, get married, have children, all your family, take the risk and leave. Because obviously you're young at this time. You will pick up the speed, you will move, and it's a good opportunity. Why not? But if you're trying to compare, then don't compare. Because if you want to stay in Pakistan, then obviously the exposure will count here first. But if you want to go abroad to get the exposure and come back to the country, you can get a better job here. Obviously, if you're doing a degree from abroad, coming back to your country will give you more opportunities. Similarly, it's the same thing with the jobs.
Okay, ma'am. Haya Afif has a question. Do we have to include our personal hobbies in the CV or just the skills and professional experiences?
I did show you the last slide. It mentioned about your hobbies. Now, if you're mentioning your hobbies, it's better that if you have a membership of any clubs, you can mention, because that shows it resonates with these two. That okay, now this graduate, it's really sporty, as being going to sports and also has a membership. You can do that, and you can of course add, because fresh graduates normally do not make a mistake of saying what I did show you one of the slides. They've written like multiple things: watching movies, looking at newspaper. These are some of the things that can really backfire you. Now remember one thing, that when employees call you, they'll say, okay, you watch movies. What's the latest one that you watched? You might get blank. You might say that I like doing swimming. They might ask you, okay, have you been a champion? What do you do? They can put you through a situation where you might get stuck. So even if you're doing multiple hobbies, put the ones that you know inside out. That if they can ask you probe you questions, put you through situations, you are able to answer it. Also, one more tip. If you're applying for marketing, HR, a lot of companies give you situations. They can ask you, sell this coffee mug. Why is this different? And you kind of blank. So you need to be really, be alert and quick about, if I need to sell the same thing, how should I be different from the others? So these are behavioral questions they ask you during the interviews, and they ask you through your resumes, the way you've developed it. Like I said, keep it short, to the point, by using action verbs. Action verbs is a tip of using through statements. The moment you write stories, you're going to be stuck, you're dead.
And ma'am, next question, my co-speaker will ask you the question, Aisha Ahmed. Hand over to Aisha.
Yes, ma'am. Next question is from Taha Rafiq. Should I add work experience and education qualification be in ascending order or descending order?
Okay, now if you're writing the chronological, the latest one will go on top. And the same thing should go for the functional CV as well. Always do the latest one on top. And the education should go on top, all right? Education, then the experience. Yeah, was that the question?
All right, ma'am.
Was that the question, Aisha?
Yes, ma'am. The question was, should I add work experience and education qualification be in ascending order or descending order?
That's exactly what I said. So education will go on top, and then the qualification will come at the bottom. Okay?
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, the next question is from my side. The next question is from my side. It is, what will make CV attractive to employer?
Aisha, can you repeat the question because I didn't hear you?
What will make CV attractive to employer?
All right. Now, that's a question which I missed even during the presentation. I was told to finish the presentation quickly. That should come in the objectives. Aisha, the question that you just asked. To make your CV attractive or your resume attractive is that what job you're applying for. So for example, Aisha, I would say if you're applying for marketing, you would be looking for the jobs in the market through the, if you're looking at through the web page or you're looking through the advertisement, you're looking at the advertisements which highlights only marketing. Now, this is a very important tip for all the students, and Aisha, the question that you just asked. When you're looking at the marketing, please look at what the advertisement is asking you. The advertisement might be asking you a marketing job, experience, fresh graduates, or 1 to 5 years, and they will list down the skills they are looking at. Marketing, they might say, should be good in sales, excellent interpersonal skills, fluent in English, Microsoft Word, Office or whatever, and whatever. The students need to look at those advertisements which is asking you to apply. You cannot blindly develop a resume. Your CV or your resume will only make it attractive when they know that you've actually read the advertisement. You pick up the keywords from the advertisement and you put it into the objectives. Objectives come even before your education. After you list down your names and your address, you have the objectives. In the objectives, suppose if we are applying for marketing, you're going to be writing, seeking an opportunity for marketing, and then you can put the skills that they've written down. Seeking an opportunity for marketing as an MT for this. So they would know immediately that this candidate has actually looked at the advertisement. Now for your skills, they have already marked down. You will have to put those skills into your resume. Like I mentioned, design. I mentioned health. These are the keywords that you will use to highlight your skills. the interpersonal skills that you have with students, you will put that over there. This is one common mistake that a lot of students make. You develop one resume and it is with you for 5 years. You have to keep changing it according to the job that you apply.
Okay, I think the time is up. Thank you so much, Aisha. Thank you so much, Mohsen. And above all, thank you, Shumaila Umar, for giving us the time and for such an informative session. And I want to thank all those participants who were here, my class of business communication and business report writing, as well as the other guests who have joined. Thank you, Shumaila, and it was really a pleasure having you. It's always been a pleasure to have you. You came before as well to Greenwich University, and inshallah, when this COVID thing is over, we'll be calling you again for another informative session. So I think abhi Khudafiz karte hain, and if you want to say the last few lines and your feedback, so you're most welcome.
The students can give the feedback. We would love to come over when the COVID is, we're done with COVID. Because this is something very interesting. If we were having this session at Greenwich University, I would have practically made you do it, develop it on the spot. Yeah. So that would have been really different. It's like just giving you a bit of lecture and
but still, I think Shumaila, still they can do it. They can write a CV and they can email it to you. So it can be a small assignment for them, and it's going to improve there, since inshallah within few years they'll be going out and writing their CV.
So that writing is developing. Absolutely.
Yeah, so you can help them. So thank you, Shumaila. Thank you so much. So nice of you.
Thank you for having me here.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Okay. Bye.